All right. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Echo Show. As always, I'm your host, Maui. Hope everybody had a good weekend. I don't celebrate the 4th, so I ain't going to talk about that, but hope you had a good weekend, a safe weekend. I know everybody has been watching Hamilton since it dropped on Disney Plus. I have not watched it yet, but I will eventually. Real quick before we start, as always, we do this show because we were not able to do our season that we had planned. That now displacing that a year came at considerable cost. So if you can, there's a donation link at the bottom of the screen. It's echotheatercollective.org/donate. If you can give, if you can't, that's cool too. Enjoy the free conversation. Tonight we are talking with this pretty dope cat I met a few months back. Might be almost a year now. And the incredible work that he's doing with his organization, Your Passion First. He is the founder of said organization. I'm constantly struck by his soulfulness and his intentionality of how he approaches life. And I'm excited to just have a really in-depth conversation with him today about the stuff that he's working on and just about him as a person and as a community member. So it is my pleasure to introduce to all of you the wonderful Chris Thomas, everybody. Chris Thomas. Hey.
What's up, bro?
How you doing?
Oh, man, just living and learning every day, man. Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks for being on. And so, first of all, how was your weekend?
You know, it was good, man. It was good. Aside from, going over and, supporting the family of young Natalie over in Austin, it's as good as it can be knowing that random people are still getting shot in the streets, or any people for that matter, man. But, I'm thankful that I have an amazing family. This was one of the first 4th of Julys, I think in like 3 or 4 years, I didn't spend it with my son. He's 7 going on 8, so he got a chance to hang with his mom. So just relax, man. Hung out with good friends, good people, good times.
Absolutely. Now, so before we talk about your organization, I'd like to talk a little bit about you. Give us your background, man, and like, what was the road that led to you doing equity work and working with kids?
Yeah, bro. A good road, man. I was born on the south side of Chicago. I stayed in Midlothian for a little bit. I stayed with my grandma for a little bit in Alkel Gardens, but I was blessed enough. My parents got divorced when I was young. My mom got remarried and to a white guy, right? So a lot of my equity work starts there and having an understanding of that culture as well as the Black culture. But we moved out of the south side. They wanted to raise us somewhere that was safer. We moved around a little bit to Cleveland, to Michigan. Finally, in '89, right around 5th grade for me, I moved back here to Oak Park, and this has been my home since. And so the hard string that it pulls at in my heart is knowing that there's people 4 blocks from me that have it less fortunate, where it's a different environment. Just going back in the summers with my dad, hanging out with my dad, seeing the disparities there, just always tugged at me, man. And then getting into the workforce space and the staffing space, I started to see the same thing happen, not just with our Black and brown people, but with everyone entry level. And it was even worse with our Black and brown people. So I wanted to really make sure that my focus became our young adults as they really look to enter the workforce.
Mm. And so you said you started off in staffing.
Yeah. I wouldn't say started off. So I graduated high school, went away to college, didn't do so well, got booted out of college, just being a little knucklehead. So I went to the Marines. 3 years in the Marines, military police officer, same stupid stuff again, messed around with drugs, got an other than honorable discharge out of there. And so I was kind of like F the world at that point. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm going to do what I want with life, and I'm going to be successful. And, the military is not going to tell me anything about what I can and can't do. So I ended up opening 2 businesses, a t-shirt company, a tattoo shop, but still being a knucklehead. The one thing that probably saved my life is I started working with young adults at the Forest Park Community Center. And,
Represent Forest Park.
yeah,
Where I live.
Forest Park, baby. Let's go.
Let's go.
Karen Deluski over there, was a blessing. Jason Fustar, Adrian Echevarria, Diana, just working with all those people inspired me to really want to take that focus into working with kids. Unfortunately, in 2008, I got in a little trouble. I got a DUI. And then right after that, I got caught with like a significant amount of marijuana, man. And I was at a point in my life where that was the bottom, bro. You know what I mean? I didn't know really what I was going to do. But at that point, I really, really dug deep and I said, you got to focus on what you're passionate about. It's the kids. And so I ended up going back to Northeastern Illinois University, finally got my degree in adolescent psychology, got a minor in philosophy and Spanish. And I couldn't get a job, bro, because of the 2 felonies I was facing. So I ended up going into the staffing space because a buddy of mine was a partner, my boy Mick Zadecki. He's like, yo, come over. He's like, psychology, right? He's like, yeah, you're going to learn people's motivations. He's like, philosophy, right? Sales. So essentially he sold me, man. But I worked for free for about 4 months until I got my first check, busted my butt. But in that time frame, from 2010 to 2015, after starting out at a front desk working as an admin Lil Bia, I ended up growing out an office in San Diego. I had a team here in Chicago, had a team of 9. I think our team, we made like 1.8 mil book of business, a W-2 like 190 in 2015. But even there, bro, like I thought that was what the top was supposed to be. But I still realized in all that, it was still working with the kids that was missing. So I left that organization to go to another organization, ranked 10 on the Forbes list. And then I got offered a chance to start a staffing firm. And then I ended up where we are here, man, with Your Passion First.
Okay. And for our viewers, please explain to us what Your Passion First is, what your organization is all about.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Our vision is to be the industry leader in workforce readiness workshops, festivals, and events. And just to dissect that a little bit, when I look at the education system, as I look at a lot of the systems here in the US, they're broken. And so we have to look at, and especially now with COVID, I think it's an excellent opportunity for us to look at how we reimagine that. And so we started this before COVID. I've probably been researching with this for about 1.5 years or so. And we launched in April, literally right after COVID. And what we do is we create a value-based and program-based program where young adults get to understand what their passions are. They go through different workshops with different guest speakers, and then they create a project for their community. But along that way, they're building different workforce readiness skills within 5 verticals, respectively: art, music, entertainment, sports, and culinary. We only have 3 of those verticals for this cohort. We have 8 young adults in the cohort. And so really just teaching them things like financial literacy, project management, marketing. I went out with 2 of them the other day to drop flyers off, and they were learning how to, do a sales pitch and stuff like that. So just teaching them some of the, the grassroots on the ground stuff that, our traditional education systems can do. I just don't know if they are intentional about doing that community engagement piece.
Mm-hmm.
I think that has to tie in if we're really going to create equitable pipelines within our communities.
For sure. That, teaching them the hustle.
Right.
That's the hustle. That's the,
Right.
I don't know that I got that out of school, what little schooling that I did. I learned that from other community members, right? I learned that from seeing people like you, like doing and saying like, oh, like I want to do that, right? And so like having that mentorship, I think, is so valuable. In certain ways, more valuable than traditional educational models. Having, a multi-generational mentorship and intentional placement, that's everything. That's amazing. And you also use this for civic engagement and for social justice at the same time, right? And making sure that these the kids you're reaching out to are empowered. You tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. I honestly believe that it's all one and the same. You know, when you're look, and we don't make it one and the same, and we separate it all. Um, the engagement, the community engagement, the just all of it, man. It should be all the same. All the civic engagement, especially when you're looking at young adults going into organizations, right? My co-host Mickey Grace uses a term, intrapreneur and entrepreneur, right?
Nikki from she used to work at Live.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
love her. She's great.
Awesome, awesome people, bro.
Yeah.
So she says, being an intrapreneur versus an entrepreneur, right? Like a lot of times we go into these organizations and we're not really a piece of the organization, right? We're not able to really build ourselves in that creation. And so, I see us as getting to a state where we just have to do a better job of that, of really immersing ourselves, being understanding of the organization, being understanding of ourselves, and then setting expectations around how that kind of builds together.
Yeah.
I mean,
Now, how do you see your organization interacting with youth right now who are protesting and kind of using their voice for the first time in certain cases? Do you see any intersection there, any support there from your organization?
yeah, we have one of our young talented. He's actually just turned 21 yesterday. Keyshawn Owens,
Hmm.
just super smart kid, and he does a lot of activism work. He's not as newer into the space, and so he's pretty experienced with it. But when I look at some of the other young adults in our program that are less experienced with that, what I just try and do is hear them, and sometimes they don't want to talk on our workshop calls. It's harder with virtual, but I think that those are opportunities to, I don't want to say force them to talk, but give everyone a equal and equitable turn to speak whatever they have to speak, even if they don't feel like speaking. And leaving those spaces open for people, I think is really, really important, as people learn and as they grow and as they build, I think that's important. So we just
Sure.
try and emulate that in everything we do in terms of being able to be active in your community, be active with your voice, be active on our calls, be active with what you say you're going to do, right? Integrity is a big part of business. Integrity is a big part of community building. It's showing up the way that you say you are. And it may not always be the best, but are you going to be there? And so
Right.
really, really doing that as we help them get through some of these challenges, but also not live in fear of using their voice.
Mhm. Now, I want to go back a bit because you spoke very candidly about your past, about having a felony on your record, and how that impacted you as you tried to start a career. How as you tried to get your the next phase of your life going. Um, and that's something that I think about a lot, right? Like how the way that our system is set up, that once you go into that, like even when you get out, like you have this whole new set of problems that like keep you from actualizing your life. So like there's no rehabilitation necessarily in that penal system, right? It's just like this new form of like shackling you.
Right.
And so as a person who's overcome that, um and found your path, how does that unique worldview kind of help fuel how you engage, with youth and community?
So I want to make sure I heard you. So you're saying in terms of my felony,
Right,
right?
because like for me, like I grew up with a past where like I have like a mother that was drug addicted and prostituted, and that in her unique worldview and then my unique worldview growing up within that world, it kind of informs our work now.
Right.
And I believe that like that just makes us more valuable as community assets, having that worldview.
Yeah.
And so I'm wondering if that worldview has really informed your work.
You know what's informed my world? My stupidity has informed my
Yeah.
work too, bro. Like I don't really have excuses.
Hmm.
You know, I don't have excuses why I didn't make the right choices when I
Hmm.
was young. What I do have is knowing, some people say, well, I wouldn't change anything. Well, anybody that ever says they wouldn't change anything from their past, how can you learn if you didn't change anything from it? How can you get better? Right.
Hmm.
So it's not that I wouldn't change anything, but a lot of the things that I went through wouldn't have gotten me to the place that I am today.
Hmm.
Right? Wouldn't have gotten me through some of the hoops, wouldn't have built up the coarse skin that I have to be able to be like, all right, I don't care what you're gonna say, I'm still gonna do this. I had to find my moral compass. Not like moral like I was bad. I've never hurt anybody, bro. I may have hurt some girls feel, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
I never hurt anybody. And so I think that where it helps me in guiding young adults, man, is at the end of the day, it's not about your past. It's about the person that you're showing up for today and going forward. It doesn't mean that your past won't creep back in every now and then, but the longer you live in your present and the person you want to be, the more you could push that away. And that's not like pushing it down inside of you so that you start to act a different type of way, right? Because
Hmm.
sometimes we could do that. We could push feelings down and then we create this new personality around those feelings. I think it's really dealing with those past transgressions, talking with someone about them, and showing up the way that you want to show up, showing up authentically. And it's has not been easy for me, bro. Uh,
Hmm.
and it is not easy some days. And some days it's still, I know it won't be easy, but I'm committed to it and I'm committed to the work. And so it allows me, and where it's helped me is to really be committed to the young adults out there, be committed to the kids in our program, be committed when Friday I was over on Laramie in Chicago, right? Talking with young adults that probably weren't doing the right thing, where most people will not go over there. But who's gonna go over there and talk to them? So I'm committed to helping them see things in a different light, see things in a light that values themselves more than the way that they value themselves right now, because I don't feel I always value myself the way that I thought that I should.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about, right? Like, reclaiming that narrative, finding your value, and like defining what your life is going to be moving forward. Like, I can't change my past.
Right.
So like, when people ask, like, oh, what would you change? I wouldn't change anything, but only because like I can't, right? But what I do have control over is what happens tomorrow,
Right.
what happens today. That past informs my present, and my present, informs my future. So, I just try and make sure I do the next right
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
You know.
That's it.
Um, so you have an event coming up. I'd love if we could talk a little bit about the historical scavenger hunt.
Yeah, for sure, man. It's been tough. It's challenging putting any event together because you always want it to be awesome and different and not boring. And so just making sure that it's right. But we're doing first on Wednesday a bike drive at Dan's Bike Shop
Mhm.
in Berwyn on Roosevelt Road. So if you go to our page on Facebook, it's Your Passion One ST. Again, that's Your Passion First.
Let me find that so I can put it up on the screen. Keep talking.
Thank you. Your Passion One ST.com is the website, but it's on Facebook, I believe, not on the website. You can check out our website as well, yourpassionfirst.com. Again, that's yourpassion1st.com. What I wanted to do is create an event. So we have 8 kids in the program, and they are at a phase in the program called deliverables.
Mhm.
So the phases are ground zero, brainstorming, destination, deliverables, perseverance, then dream to reality. So within the deliverables phase, obviously within project management, anytime you have a project, you have all these things that you have to get done in order to get to the place that you need to be to call yourself complete. So I was like just racking my brain, like, how can I make this fun? These kids haven't gotten outside at all. Like, what can we do that we could also include the community on, where they could still get their lesson for deliverables, but learn a little bit of something in a different way. So I thought of this thing to do this historical scavenger hunt where we could ride bikes through both communities, through the Austin community and through the Oak Park community, pick some landmarks, have a chance for them to either look up clues, find clues there, and then have an opportunity to win some prizes. So we're a little short, definitely looking for more donations. You can go again to Facebook and our page and donate there. And then the bike drive is Wednesday. You know, when you look at equity, right, and equality, you know, you want to make sure that you have bikes for people that may not be able to afford them. So doing the bike drive, Dan's Bike Shop on Wednesday from 10 to 5 p.m. And if you have a bike, even if it doesn't work, bring it. Bring it. We'll do our best to get it fixed. We do have one volunteer, possibly two, and we're looking for 3 more volunteers. So if you know how to fix anything, bikes aren't that hard. I fixed a couple. We'd love your help there. We're going to be right at the bike shop, so we'll be able to get pieces and all that good stuff. So,
and in the comments, everybody, we have 3 links. The first link is for the bike drive. The second link is for the scavenger hunt itself, and the third link is the Your Passion First page. I have a question here from a dear friend, Scott Sakayama. I'm saying, what are you looking to raise? So, what's your
4,000? We're at 1,000 almost. So, you know, I think the more we can raise, the more we can actually pay the musicians that we want to have there. We have a couple just waiting. You know, we need sound equipment. I don't think we need a stage. And then the prizes are a big piece, and then food for the participants and food for the volunteers we'd like to have. So,
in terms of sound equipment, I have sound equipment you can borrow, so for free. So that is a commitment I'll make to you right now. You can use our sound setup.
That is a blessing. Thank you, brother.
No problem. We'll talk about that after the show. And is there a fundraiser drive going currently on Facebook that I can connect people to as well?
Yeah, absolutely. So if you actually go to it's either at the top or the bottom of the Facebook event.
Okay. Of the scavenger hunt itself?
Yeah, in the overview.
Yes, I see it right here.
Volunteer and donation link in there as well.
Okay.
So if you can donate, there's a couple spots of that needed to help the young adults for the smaller kids scavenger hunt. So just chaperone them. That scavenger hunt's going to start at 1 p.m. The 14 and over scavenger hunt will start at 10. We ask that you arrive at least 30 minutes early.
What kind of stuff can we expect in the scavenger? I love the scavenger hunt, so I'm wondering what kind of stuff can we expect to find?
I don't know. I think I'm just gonna leave it on the hush for now.
Okay, that's fair. I'm hoping maybe
because it's still in planning, but partially because I want a element of surprise still.
But I was saying a suggestion, maybe Percy Julian's home would be a good one on there. I'm just saying, throwing that out there.
I'm not gonna say that's not on the list. Maybe we could talk to Maui about what the story is behind some of these landmarks. I know you love storytelling, man. So maybe we can discuss that offline too.
I'd love that.
Cool. You're in town, right?
I'm in Forest Park. I'm just a hop, skip, and a jump away. I'm just right across the street. So yeah. So looking forward, past this and through COVID, I know I'm sure the model has had to drastically change with COVID. But looking forward, where do you see the future? Give me I'll give you right now I'm working on a business plan for something, and the person that's helping me put it together said a year from now, if you're wildly successful, where will you be? So I'm going to ask you that question. A year from now, if this is wildly successful, what do you see? Let's just do some just unadulterated dreaming right now.
Well, what I will say is we are in talks with University of Illinois, Chicago. And a piece of their organization and their school is going to I'll know by the end of this month, but they're going to help us with programming for next year. So if that is solidified, then not if, when.
I like that.
I feel very, and I don't want to throw names out, but I feel very good about the relationship that I've been building with folks over there. And they like what we're doing. So it's just a matter of us building that together.
Hmm.
Um, like in my most humblest voice, I want to change the world, bro. I want to change the way we look at education. I know that's not going to happen in a year. It's probably going to take till the day I die, but I'm okay with that. I want to change the way we look at workforce and hiring. I've been in there, I've hired, and I've seen how organizations can be. I'm not saying all organizations are like that, but when you have only 9 Black CEOs in the Fortune 1000 since 1999, um, there's a problem, and I don't know if that's what I call truth, right? That's
Yeah.
truth is in diversity, truth is in equity and inclusion. And so just for us, man, it's changing that lens. It's having a program by this time next year where we have a full-fledged festival scheduled for September, having a January cohort start successfully with a full program, making sure our board is set and good to go, making sure that this is scalable and sustainable.
Yeah.
And I think we probably won't know in a year, but we will definitely know within 2 years if we're going to be able to scale this out. So right now it's just building relationships, man. There's no perfect, 1 year mark. I'm just learning in the past year to slow down and appreciate the process, man. So
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. I love it. I love it. All right. Well, I think those are all my questions. Um, I would love it as we wrap up here. If you could, I know we were talking beforehand that you had a piece that you'd love to share with us. I'd love to hear that, and then maybe we can do a wrap up after that. If you're open to sharing that piece, that spoken word piece with us.
I'll do it. I will say this. I'm almost done. So if there's a couple flaws in it, disregard. But
No, no, that's cool. Tell us. I'm gonna give you. I'm gonna give you a single.
yeah,
Tell us what it's about. Give us the story of it, and then lay it on us.
I wrote it just focused on this, this scavenger hunt, discovering our narrative, really just understanding who we are. So here it is. I'm sitting here feeling like the pain ain't gonna stop. Racism is embedded in our systems. So how can we say stain without going pop? We got our babies on the corner yelling out, yo, I got green and rock. We got them boys driving by and they call themselves cops, profiling with that grin, and then they stop. They know the system is rigged. They think they at the top. Come on, read your history about them cops. In history class, I was told there was night watch and volunteers. But in my older years, what I came to read is that it was slave patrol, and then began my fear. Now, just because you took away the slave trade after the Civil War, you still told us how much we could make, where we could live, and restricted who we could vote for. So this place we call America that you say is our home, well, your system has made us feel very shunned upon. Now, I get it that some may argue that was quite some time ago, but 300 years of generational wealth will really eat at your soul. So please don't be one of those people that lives in that space like, damn, when are they going to stop with this so I can get back to work and be great? If you do start to feel that way, then grab your white privilege and look it dead in the face and realize that for more than 3 generations, our country held down an entire race. It kept us from making decisions while we built this place. It wouldn't allow us a seat at the table, but we put food on that. We made all the best food, and oh yeah, that table, we built that. So with the system defined by racism, and now that we are here, how do we turn that system into something we all don't fear? Well, it starts with changing the narrative of who we are, like knowing where all this really started from afar. like realizing that a lot of the stuff in traditional history books is bull, like knowing that the word racism has no biological basis. It was made up by Eastern Europeans to define us by our faces. In the 18th century, white anthropologists used location and traits like skin color to place people and races. Let me repeat that. White anthropologists use location and skin color to place people and races. But the flawed principle has no biological basis, but it laid the groundwork for white Europeans to feel more superior than other races. So it's hard for some to see out the context of that history, that the driver of our country was the triangular trade, which included slavery. Yes, y'all, traded sugar right along with us, used to grow your colonial cash crops and establish your colonial lust for money, for economic power, and oh yeah, in God we trust. Don't get me started. I could go on for days. I just wanted to start with that one word race. So let's not get stuck in where we've been. We've already agreed about our broken system. Each one of us here, though, are a symbol and token of what the world can be if we really make the most of it. Together as community, we could build a new life, one where there is diversity, equity, and inclusion, whether you're Black, brown, or white. What's important to be appreciative of is who we are. We are all put here on this earth for a reason. We are all meant to be stars. With our differences combined, coming from a place of love, we have an opportunity to make a difference without being judged. From a place of understanding and a place of self-care, we could start to live our true narrative, not in our fears.
That's what's up. We'll give you the snaps.
Appreciate that, bro.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. So what made you write that, brother?
It's just what I was feeling, bro.
Yeah.
It was just what I've been feeling, you know? Someone suggested that I should start writing and getting on shows again. And within a week, 2 people asked me to be on a show, you being one, and I might be on Doris Davenport's show. We'll see.
Doris is great. Tell Doris Maui said what's up.
I will. She said we'll see about this week. So, you know, just I feel like I've held a lot in, man. But I've let so much out. The stuff I was letting out, I don't feel it was all the way authentic for part of my life, man, because I was living in this bubble of who I thought I was supposed to be or show up to the world as, like who other people wanted me to be. And I just had to start really digging into who I wanted to be, the person I wanted to be. And as I started to see that, I started to like uncover all these layers of not only stuff that I'm going through and have gone through, but stuff that like I see the world like through a clearer lens. And I want to see that as clear as day. And I think that just takes intentional relationship building and understanding, man. And so this is kind of what I was feeling with, you know, what we have going on, right? And yeah, there's racism, yeah, it's there, but you know, it's not supposed to be our jobs to do the work of our oppressors, but we also can't sit around and do nothing. And so, yeah, man, I wanted to get that out there because I think we have to come to a place of understanding that there's work to be done across the board, you know, on all sides. So.
Yeah, and I want to say, hey, first of all, you can curse on this show, so you can say, so you could have said the shit. That's fine.
My mom hate it when I curse, man. So I've been trying to watch it a little bit.
That's good. That's good. That's good. 2, I want to thank you for sharing that with us and being comfortable enough to be that vulnerable with us to share your work. That's a hard thing to do, and I'll just let you know, like here at Echo Theater Collective, we are all about giving platforms to our local people who are looking to have their voice be heard. So whenever you want to come on, you let me know. You got another piece you got written, come, we'll have you on to perform it anytime. And as the world opens back up and we're able to do stuff in person again, you know, I'm thinking that, you know, maybe we need to do a storytellers evening. You know, I think that'd be wonderful. Maybe it's a collaboration. We can talk about that afterwards too. So I want to make sure everybody knows there are links in the comments. The first one is for the bike drive. So they're looking for bikes. It's for the children and the youth to have bikes to do the scavenger hunt. Two, there's the second link is the event for the scavenger hunt itself. There is a fundraiser going to raise funds for that. That is also in the comments, the supportful.com link. And then third, make sure you follow Your Passion First, see what they have coming up, what's going on, and how you can support and how you can be an ally to those efforts to empower our youth, our Black youth, especially in job placement and job training and mentorship. It's a wonderful, wonderful cause. I cannot recommend it highly enough. You've heard from this awesome young king here that just told us his amazing life story and this dream that he has, and I want to see us realize that dream together. So if you can, please give. And reminder, once again, if you can also give to Echo Theater Collective. All of our shows are pay what you can online. Donation link is at the bottom here, echotheatercollective.org/donate. That's our show for tonight. Chris, I want to thank you so much for being on with us. I want to thank you for sharing your story. I want to give you one last chance to give a shout out to the audience and say whatever you want to say before we wrap it up.
I mean, first of all, just thank you for having me, man. I'm honored to be on. You're doing some really good work, and I'm learning from you, bro, honestly. And I'm appreciative just to be in the company. And, for anyone out there listening that is looking to figure out why they're not happy, I really just urge you to look inside your heart to see if you're doing what you're passionate about. I think we could go through life just kind of getting by or just passing by or just kind of doing this job. But at this time where a lot of people don't have jobs and are looking to redefine their lives, do that, right? But don't talk about it. Don't think about what could happen if you do it or what might happen. It'd be a lot easier to talk about what happened after you did it. Take that action. So, as I always like to end our show, in order to follow your dreams, you got to put your passion first. Appreciate y'all.
All right, that's our evening, and as we always end our show, you get two endings. In all things, echo love. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great evening. God bless.